This is Wide Angle with Ashok Vyas. Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and today in Wide Angle, we are trying to see life in a way that helps us embrace it in various dimensions. And one dimension or first step in life is gaining. But the most important second half or parallel to getting is giving. And when we talk about giving, there are various ways that being an Indian and being an Indian American opens up for us how much we are aware about the ways which are available to us to connect back to our roots and give back. Someone who has taught economics is also teaching through his life the ways of giving back in the form of education for those who need it most. And if education reaches them, it definitely works for the good of the society, of the world at large. My guest today, once again, is someone who is known to you through ITV and through various other medias. And recently, he was written about in an important newspaper. The heading of the article on him said, "The man who insists on giving back." So we're talking about giving back with Professor Surinder Kaushik. Kaushik Saab, swagat hai aapka.
Good afternoon, thank you.
So let's go back before giving back. It was in 70s that you landed here in America and with lots of dreams. But when we talk about those dreams, and there must be many viewers right now who are watching you trying to make something here for themselves. At that point, you don't think about giving back. Were you aware that at a point you would start thinking from this line?
Well, I was, in a sense, I had the concept from childhood of giving back, as I saw my grandmother and other people in society giving back at their own level in the village and so on. But once I came here, I realized immediately the power of giving, because giving is a tradition in all religions through history. But the practical incarnation of giving is in America like nowhere else. That Americans give. I learned through New York Times and other newspapers that some 90% plus Americans give time and money to community causes, get involved and so on. And then of course we come up with examples like Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate, who essentially gave all of his wealth before he passed away. So those kinds of information that I picked up in American society influenced me a great deal.
And then in our times also we look at Warren Buffett, we look at Gates.
Right, actually before Warren Buffett, Gates started much earlier. And of course, Gates has given some 25% of his wealth, some 25 billion. And Warren Buffett has given, again, almost 90% of his wealth, of 40 plus billion and so forth, or pledged it. And now they're asking others, rich people or executives, to pledge at least half of their wealth. They can leave half for their family and so forth, and the other half for society, and they're doing it everywhere. So again, they're reaching out, not just America, but to the whole world. So they really signify to us in humanity the very best of reaching out and giving. And here we're talking about giving to people who are not at all related to you by blood. In other words, your children obviously you give, your cousins you give, your aunts and uncles you give, and so on and so on. But once you go beyond blood relations and you're giving to people who deserve it and need it around the world, whatever they need it and whatever you want to support, that is a true pure giving.
So talking about pure giving also unfolds a realization of pure connection, purely connected to another human being, because you are a human being, and that connection is palpably felt in, call it an act or feeling of giving. Many times we feel that once I have $1 million, I'll start thinking about giving. Once I have $1 billion, probably I'll give. But then President Bill Clinton wrote a book on giving in which he shares the story of an old woman who was not making much but was very, very focused on giving back.
Yes. Well, that is true here. That's why I'm so impressed with the American giving, that ordinary person, a person who's making $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, probably as a percentage they give more than the person who's a billionaire. And even if a billionaire gives 100 million, that's something like 1/10 of 1% or something like that. But a person giving to Salvation Army, a person giving to his church, his school, a student program, and so forth, if they give $500 out of their 20,000, that's a very significant percentage. So actually, people have big heart, even though they have small pocketbook, so to speak. So important thing is that people here and people around the world and Indian people, we are connecting in three ways. There are three rivers, so to speak, of life that come together, and those we all know that is mind, body, and soul. So of course here we're talking about helping the body itself at a minimal level, whether it's education or health or water or whatever it is, some comfort to somebody who is suffering in some way in the world. So we take care of that, and then you go to a little higher spiritual level. You go to an intellectual level. You become a better person through education, and then ultimate, of course, is full spiritual realization of becoming a better and better human being. And that is our journey, that is our destiny, that is a lot of people believe, including Aurobindo and myself, and I'm sure a lot of other people, that our destiny is really to be a more and more superior human beings, evolved human beings spiritually. But we have to take care of our body too.
Absolutely. So very well put, Triveni ka Sangam, that is body, mind and soul. And I also recollect Swami Vivekananda's saying that they alone live who live for others. Rest are more dead than alive. So if we really want to feel that we are alive, this should become a part of our being, that we learn to give back. And giving back is actually getting in different terms and in many, many ways. But talking about your journey of giving in formal way, with the help of the structure of the foundation that you found with your wife,
yes,
which is Helena Kaushik Foundation.
Yes.
Tell us how it came into being.
Well, what happened, I had this idea from childhood, observing the necessity and need for education, need for girls' education, and that wasn't there in my village. There was no girls' school, or certainly no girls' high school or middle school or primary school. So I noticed that as a boy, that we were getting all the attention, and the girls just did their homework, and they became 13-year-olds and married off to some good family, and that was the beginning of a new life for them. So that kind of struck me, and I thought someday maybe, if possible, I would like to do something about it. So when I came here, and after a few years, my wife and I, who was American, we took journeys to India, and she was so impressed with the condition of boys and girls. And she was really very depressed and concerned. And every time she would talk about why are they not in school, why are they so poor, etc. And so my original idea and this idea and her idea took shape. So I started giving scholarship to some students in my former school. But the interest of teachers and activity and action along those lines were very, very small, nothing happening. And then I realized that you have to create a dream machine here. Like President Kennedy idea, you look up. You send a man to moon kind of idea. That only if you look up, if you think of college education for girls, possibly more children will finish primary school. Possibly more will go to middle school. Possibly more will go to high school. So we have to create that pipeline. Because the rest of the world, India government, US government, World Bank, Ford Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, everybody focusing only on primary education as a goal, literacy removal as a goal, which is important in itself. We have got to make a beginning. But to me, that was too small a goal for the world, for people, for children. So I said, we got to do a college level, and especially with girls, and demonstrate that it should be done and can be done in a remote village.
So in the last 15 years, the journey that you have undertaken in making this dream a reality, over 1,300 plus girls have graduated from the college.
Correct.
In a distant part of near villages in
Correct.
Rajasthan. What place again it is?
This is in Malsisar, in Junjunu district.
Yeah. Many people haven't even heard about it.
Yeah, well, this is about 35 kilometers west of Pilani, Bits Pilani, the town of Birla's town, or where Birlas come from, and Churu on the west, and Junjunu on the south, and Sadalpur on the north. So this village sits in this 70-kilometer radius, right pretty much on the center. And there was no college there before.
Absolutely, and there is another side to it. You want to do something good, and then what happens? You are charged up with the idea of making it happen, and then you think that everybody is going to come and join you in the spirit of giving, but what happens sometimes might push people back to their comfort zones where they don't really do anything and start complaining that nobody is helping. I wanted to do this, but here these people put these obstacles. We'll not get into the details, but I'm aware that Professor Kaushik also faced many obstacles, many hurdles, be it from bureaucracy, be it on the economic front, not having enough of resources to actually make it happen. Now, how have you dealt with all these challenges where it all looks so negative or dark?
Well, first you realize that there are negative and dark forces out there. And if you look positively about your mission and your goal and you're confident of that, goodness, the virtuous life, this improvement in education and spiritual enlightenment to yourself and to others you're giving, then you stay with it and you ignore the other thing and you do the positive things.
This is Wide Angle with Ashok Vyas.
Money is not the only thing. You can share what you know. You can guide somebody. You can be an inspiration to somebody. So we've taken lots of people from here. But it's more difficult to bring people from Jaipur and Delhi to the college, to the village, than to actually take from here.
That's kind of interesting, and it's self-explanatory also, because probably people there feel that there are many such projects, or is it really going to make any difference? So you need to have a paradigm shift in making them really feel that by being present and by sharing their experience, it is also contributing, it is also giving. Now, I also want to share with the viewers, with your help, that giving, it not only takes away any possibility of depression that might come about near you, but it also fills you with a special energy that enables you to drive for miles together, facing the bad weather, to be a part of an interview on ITV to talk about Helena Kaushik Educational Foundation's project, even if you have sort of some support needed for your feet, and I have seen you do that. So this tells me that this project has helped you in ways that you probably might have not imagined before you started on this
certainly
journey.
Understanding people, understanding societies, understanding myself, and just the sheer pleasure and joy, satisfaction of helping people whom I don't know, with whom I have no connections. In other words, people ask me, who are your students? I say literally 100% representation of the area population, all in terms of their religious background, in terms of their education background, in terms of their industry and economic activity. So all, as we say in India, socio-economic groups, without exception, it's 100% democracy, much better than the democracy of voting. In other words, we have here no exception in terms of villages and social groups in the area whose families have not benefited from it. So we have an actual concrete result of 1,300 graduates with BA, BSc, BEd, MA, and MSc degrees of the University of Rajasthan. And that is a record, a factual record in the University of Rajasthan and in our college. And that is another very big thing, that people have to have confidence that what they're supporting, what is happening is good, and it is happening. So sustainability is a big word these days. So if you apply that word to this case, we have somehow sustained last 15 years, because now we are completing 15th academic year. We are already 1,300 graduates, and a 30-acre huge campus with some at least about 120,000 square feet of constructed modern space, and sports facilities and lab facilities and so on and so on. So I invite people to look up the website. I invite people to look at, go to the college if they can, if they're in India, and get involved and support our college, support some other college, other school, water projects, health, whatever.
Absolutely, and I would go one step further, not only support his college, some other college, but look at the dream that is hidden somewhere in you, and you have put that in the back burner or back seat, thinking that it is impossible to do it. So looking and listening to the experience of Professor Kaushik tells us that nothing is impossible, or things that apparently looks like impossible are possible. And you have actually made it possible, because first of all, it was very difficult to start a college,
yes,
and then sustaining it for 15, 17 years.
It took us 2.5 years just to get the permission in a situation where there is no government money was involved. Just permission, because every time I went there, 10 times I made 10 personal trips, hundreds of faxes and so on. This was back in 97, 98 I'm talking about. Just recommendations from a lot of people here, to the Chief Minister, to the Education Ministry, etc. But to them at that time, education was not a college education for girls in a small rural village was not a priority idea. You know, food, transportation, roads, water, those are the important issues. They still are today. So higher education, girls' education in rural area, college, forget about it. But now I am happy though that we took the initiative and did things, and I must report I was so happy back in 2002, our first graduating class. We got the message of congratulations from then Prime Minister Vajpayee, wow, which we published in our graduation book. We also in the same book published a message from, at that time, leader of opposition, Dr. Manmohan Singh in Congress Party in Rajya Sabha. And those both messages are there, and both of them congratulate the college and say, Dr. Manmohan Singh, that this is a very important issue and this is a very important thing in terms of girls' education, higher education. Now I'm happy to note with you and everybody else that only yesterday, today, the Prime Minister has inaugurated a whole women's bank and a movement of setting up women bank run by women for women. Wow. So see how far we have come along, you see, in terms of women. Here you have in Kerala, the Chief Minister starting a whole new program where there are women taxi drivers and women taxi companies catering to the traveling needs of women. So these kinds of things did not exist 17 years ago. So I'm particularly very happy that we had the right ideas, that women are important. They are 50% of the population. Even today, in 2013, no more than 15% of the leadership of the world, leadership in India in any field, education, industry, science, politics, government, no more than 15% are women. So we men still dominate 85%, which means we are losing out on the potential benefit we could derive from women and putting them in leadership position. But to do that, you have to have them educated. You have to have them educated at a higher education level. That was our thinking, and that thinking now has become worldwide. Sustainability, women's empowerment, all that is a big deal today, but 17 years ago, even the UN wasn't thinking. It was after our college was set up in 99, 2000, 2001, that UN comes up with the Millennium Development Goals. Only in 2010, UN unites 5 different departments to create a UN Women Department, which focuses on women's empowerment. So conceptually, spiritually, we feel so happy that we were on the right thinking, and we took the action that today the world is doing. In their own way, they have realized that all these things to be done, and there is a much more to go in terms of action.
In your presence, I just share this with viewers of ITV. Recently, in the last August, you lost
August
Helena
24,
Kaushik
2.5
ji.
months ago. Yeah,
Right.
I lost my wife.
And she has been instrumental and a source of inspiration in making this college dream see reality.
Yeah, very
Tell
much
us
so.
how-
And that is
yeah.
another value, by the way, love. Pure love, love of your wife, love of your spouse, love of your family member. Love in many, many applications of love is such a significant value, such a significant attribute that we got to have, and we derive inspiration from it. And so love of education, love of girls' education, love of your country, love of improving your village, love, and so on and so forth. You got to have that mission and that value so you feel good in doing good.
Wonderful. So always feel good in doing good, taking words from Professor Kaushik and sharing them with you again with a sense of goodness that exists all around us. And while I thank Professor Kaushik for sharing all these steps in such a simple manner, in a concise manner, journey of 17 plus 2.5 years, first the struggle of making the college happen, passing through lots and lots of bureaucratic hurdles, waiting patiently, keeping the positive mental tone, for which he was also recognized by President of India on NRI Day. Recognitions aside, when we move forward, if someone wants to be a part of, call it a mission or journey with you, indeed your website has more information, but anything that you would like to say as we conclude?
Well, I would like to request people to get involved, so send suggestions, visit our website, visit the college when they can, and share their knowledge. And of course, in this world, we were talking about mind, body, and soul. In this world, nothing happens without money, more or less, in terms of taking care of the body. So education, instruments, college, sports, bringing our students to meet with you here in America, staying in your homes for 2, 3, 5 days, where you can act as host families, sponsoring their students for short-term visit, sponsoring them for a semester or entire education for 3 year or 4 year here. Any number of things can be done. And you can specify what you want to help with. You want to help with the construction or with the campus facilities, lab facilities, student scholarships, faculty, endowed chairs, and so on, so that any way you wish to get involved. Wonderful. And what you want to give, you give, and we will welcome it all. And the American value of giving is so strong that the society, through IRS, through tax laws, gives a tax exemption to people who do good things. And it's such a big thing in this country, as we all know, we are part of it, that Americans give more than $400 billion in charitable contributions.
Every year?
Every year.
Wow.
That is something like 15–20% of the total tax revenue collected by the U.S. government. The U.S. government collects $2,500 billion a year. Americans give to private charity more than $400 billion. So that's about 15% or so.
So there is real connection or alignment between American values and humanity, because in order to live life as a good human being, we need to realize that we all are connected, and when we have a purpose, a mission, and a way to work for a larger goal, it adds to our life in many, many ways. And sharing all this through his own experience, Professor Surendra Kaushik, my guest today. Thank you very much, and lots of good wishes for you. Thanks to all of you for being with us, and let's all believe in the magic of giving. With good wishes, this is Ashok Vyas. This is Wide Angle with Ashok Vyas.